Sales platforms, outsourcing tech management, when your sales stack starts selling you. If your reps need 4 logins and 3 browser tabs just to make a call, your tech stack is running the show, not your team. Most B2B orgs have piled on tools for CRM, sequencing, dialers, data, enrichment, analytics, and forecasting until the stack becomes its own full-time job. Salesforce reports that teams use about 10 tools to close deals, and 66% of reps feel overwhelmed by the number of platforms they're expected to use. The painful part is that the stack is supposed to increase selling time, but it often does the opposite. In the same research, reps spend only about 28 to 30% of their week actually selling, with the rest going to admin, internal tasks, and data entry. In real terms, you're paying for a 40-hour week and getting a fraction of it in live conversations and deal progression. That's why more teams are shifting from own everything internally to outsourcing parts of sales platform and tech management. Done right, this is not hand over passwords and hope. It's bringing in a specialist partner to own the plumbing, platform setup, integrations, administration, reporting, and outbound execution, so your team can own relationships, messaging approvals, and revenue outcomes. The hidden cost of DIY tech management. DIY tech management looks cheaper on paper until you price in time and failure rates. Salesforce's data on selling time, 28 to 30%, matches what other research finds. Nearly 65% of rep time can be consumed by non-selling work when tools and data are fragmented. When that busy work includes list building, CRM cleanup, and reporting, the cost shows up as missed touches, slower follow-up, and pipeline gaps. Tool sprawl also creates a quiet tax on adoption and execution. BCG has found that more than half of companies fail to get sufficient value from their commercial tech stack, often because process and integration don't match how teams actually sell. And when implementation fails, you pay twice, once for the tool and again for the opportunity cost of the motion you didn't improve. Benchmarks underline how common this is. One study reported 64% of companies had at least one failed tool implementation, costing about $48,000 per year on average. The same benchmark found 73% of teams use overlapping tools with 40 to 60% functional redundancy. Roughly $2,340 per rep per year in duplicate spend that rarely moves pipeline. Outsource the right layer. Keep the moat in-house. The biggest mistake we see is outsourcing the decisions that make you distinct. Your ICP, positioning, qualification criteria, and narrative. Those are your moat, and they should stay with your leadership team. Where outsourcing shines is execution, platform selection support, integrations, administration, data hygiene, outbound campaign operations, and performance reporting that keeps everyone aligned. A practical way to make this decision is to separate judgment from mechanics. Judgment includes what markets you pursue, what you say, and what you accept as a qualified opportunity. Mechanics include the workflows that make that strategy real: routing rules, sequences, deliverability, enrichment, deduplication, dashboards, and the day-to-day operation of a sales development agency or outsourced sales team. When you get the split right, the outcome is measurable: fewer tools, tighter integrations, cleaner data, and more selling time. It's realistic to give each rep 8 to 15 hours back per week by removing tool wrangling, manual reporting, and spreadsheet-based shadow ops. That reclaimed time is often worth more than any single platform upgrade, especially for teams investing in B2B cold calling services, a cold email agency, or an outbound sales agency where speed to lead and consistency are everything. What outsourcing sales platform management looks like. In practice, outsourcing usually falls into three models: RevOps as a service, managed CRM/integrations, and outsourced SDR execution. RevOps services are growing quickly, with one analysis estimating the market at $324.1 million in 2024 and projecting it to reach $1.8 billion by 2033. That growth tracks with how many organizations have adopted a RevOps structure already. Over 57% of mid to large B2B enterprises by one estimate. Managed CRM and integration support is the sales tech version of managed IT, and the broader managed services market is also expanding from roughly $335 billion in 2024 to about $731 billion by 2030 in one projection. The same logic applies. Most revenue teams shouldn't spend their best hours maintaining infrastructure, debugging syncs, or cleaning data when those tasks can be owned by specialists with repeatable playbooks. Outsourced SDR partners, like a cold calling agency or sales development agency, often bundle tech management with execution. At SalesHive, we sit at this intersection. We run multi-channel outreach, including cold calling services, email, and LinkedIn outreach services, on top of a managed platform with CRM integration, deliverability infrastructure, and analytics. The result is simpler operations for your team, fewer handoffs, fewer mystery spreadsheets, and a clearer line from activity to qualified meetings and pipeline. Outsourcing works when your partner owns the platforms, the plumbing, and the playbooks, while your team owns the positioning, the standards, and the revenue decisions. Operating rhythm, dashboards, governance, and clear ownership. If you treat an outsourced partner like a black box, you'll get black box results, shadow systems, dirty data, and pipeline nobody can explain. The fix is operational, not philosophical. Shared dashboards, weekly working sessions, and documentation standards from day one. Your partner should feel like an extension of RevOps, not a mystery vendor that disappears behind logins. Data governance matters even more when multiple teams touch the same records. Without clear field ownership, enrichment rules, and deduplication policies, you end up with duplicate accounts, broken attribution, and reporting you can't trust. That's especially dangerous because research has found only 9% of companies trust their data for accurate reporting, and 92% say valuable customer insights live outside systems like the CRM. A simple, high-impact action item is a 60-minute stack and workflow audit with sales leadership. Identify every tool reps touch, what it's for, who owns it, and how often it's truly used. Then map where data enters, where it gets enriched, and where it breaks. This single session usually reveals redundant spend, manual handoffs that can be automated, and quick wins that an outsourced partner can implement in weeks instead of quarters. Common outsourcing failures and how to avoid them. One failure pattern is outsourcing core strategy instead of execution. If a vendor defines your ICP, messaging, and qualification thresholds, you're outsourcing your differentiation, and you'll feel it when results stall or when you try to change direction. The healthier model is you own targeting rules and narrative, and your partner implements, tests, and optimizes those decisions through the tech stack and outbound motion. Another common problem is tool purchasing without sales ops input, which creates workflows that don't match how reps actually sell. When IT or marketing selects tools, adoption often suffers, and you end up with a Frankenstein stack that looks great in a demo but fails in daily execution. If 42% of sales tools are purchased outside sales, the antidote is a cross-functional buying committee that includes RevOps, frontline sales leaders, and your outsourced tech partner. Finally, don't assume more tools will fix a broken process. BCG's work highlights that tech stacks underperform when underlying lead flow, handoffs, and follow-up SLAs are flawed. Before you add a new platform, ask your partner to map your current process end-to-end and show exactly what will change: routing, sequences, data rules, dashboards, and rep workflows, so technology amplifies what works instead of masking what doesn't. Optimization. Make the stack drive pipeline, not Busywork. Once the basics are stable, optimization is about removing friction and tightening feedback loops. Start by quantifying the cost of DIY sales tech management. Have SDRs and AEs track 1 week of time spent on admin, data entry, list building, and internal reporting, then multiply by loaded comp. This creates a straightforward business case for outsourcing that's grounded in hours, not opinions. Next, pressure test data and attribution, because messy inputs undermine everything: forecasting, personalization, and any attempt at AI for sales. One report found roughly 1/3 of companies lost revenue due to disorganized customer data, which aligns with what we see when teams juggle duplicate tools and inconsistent field usage. A strong partner should be able to explain their data model clearly: which fields they write to, how they prevent duplicates, and how lead source attribution flows into your CRM and reporting. From there, your stack should support a repeatable outbound engine: clean lists, consistent sequencing, reliable deliverability, and clear conversion reporting. This is where a B2B sales agency or SDR agency can be more than extra hands. They can run the operational system that makes B2B cold calling, cold call services, and cold email campaigns consistent across weeks and quarters. If prospects are hearing from a coordinated cold calling team and receiving relevant follow-ups, your reps spend less time figuring it out and more time closing. Next steps: a practical 90-day pilot for outsourcing. The fastest path to clarity is a constrained pilot with real measurement. Choose one ICP slice, one region, vertical, or segment, and one primary KPI, qualified meetings or pipeline created, and run a 90-day engagement with weekly reviews and shared dashboards. This prevents boil-the-ocean implementations and gives you clean before and after comparisons on activity, conversion, and cycle time. During partner selection, grill for integration competence and governance discipline, not just channel capabilities. Ask how they integrate with Salesforce, HubSpot, or your CRM of record, how they manage deliverability, and how they document workflows so you're never locked into a single operator. It's also reasonable to ask about operational transparency. Teams researching SalesHive reviews or comparing SalesHive pricing are typically looking for proof of process, not promises. Finally, commit to quarterly stack health reviews so the system stays lean as you grow. Review tool usage and license allocation, adoption rates, data quality, and campaign performance. Then, turn off what's underused and double down on what drives pipeline. If you're scaling, outsourcing can also help you move faster without forcing a hiring sprint, especially when you'd rather invest in revenue roles than add more internal admins. And yes, we still hire and grow. Check SalesHive Careers if you want to see how we build teams that run these systems at scale.